According to Gartner, 80% of data projects fail because companies do not choose the right operating model from the day one. To rebuild a data and BI implementation, it costs you more than 100K. So you may want to watch this video and avoid spending that cost. The companies that choose the right operating model, they spend less money and not more. You will learn about it in this video. If you're a CIO or a CDO, you might be under pressure to democratize data and empower all of your business stakeholders with BI and analytics. And that's all I hear in any executive meeting that I go. Everybody wants self-service. Your stakeholders are probably very excited about business intelligence tools, whatever tools that you're using, Power BI or anything else. And they usually get a small training. They go on YouTube, they watch a lot of different videos, and they're all shouting that they love data. But 6 months later, you get into the reality that you have a lot of inconsistent dashboards around your organization. You don't know which one is using which source of truth. They are not consistent, and your information protection people start also asking uncomfortable questions about why, for example, we see the expenses of this VP on all of the business dashboards. Your self-service projects and dashboards start becoming a nightmare that may require to rebuild. I know that most of the time you think that you are starting small, it's the smart way of doing things, and then organically you are going to build everything, but finally it becomes a huge mess that you have to clean up and you have to start over. I'm Zahra Fathisalout. I'm the CEO of Global Data and BI, and I have been part of more than 300 transformation projects. More of 100 of them, they were data and BI projects that I was in charge of the delivery. The rest, I was either part of the project steering committee, project team, or technical design validation committee. I've delivered more than 6 digital platforms that use the power of data and AI, and they are deployed in 40 to 70 countries. I have worked with teams of 50 to more than 10,000 users, and on projects from 100K to multi-million. And I have also deployed data platforms for an international company, and I have created the capabilities for data and business intelligence for that company. Through successful and failed implementation across multiple business lines and corporate functions, I identified one fundamental truth, and that's the data and analytics projects should match 3 critical elements: cost structure, governance complexity, and expertise requirements. And those should really match with your business requirements in your company. The companies that get this right build once and then they scale, and those who don't choose the right elements, they have to start rebuilding and start over again and again. So in this video, I'm going to reveal the framework that will tell you if your data and business intelligence strategies succeed or they are going to head towards a rebuild. I'll show you the 3 data operational models that I see in all large corporations, but I have also noticed that 99% of executives don't know the distinctions between them, and also the real cost of hidden expenses that come with each operating model. I'll also speak about the expertise for each operating model that could save your company hundreds of thousands. In exactly 3 steps, you'll learn how to match your data and business intelligence analytics operations to one of these operating models and see which one is required for your company and avoid expensive rebuilds. You will also be able to calculate the total cost of ownership without breaking your budget. By the end, you'll know exactly which model fits your company and how to implement it without the costly mistake that make most of data and BI programs fail. I'll share one question that will tell you if your current approach is correct or not. First, let me show you why most companies get this so wrong. The secret is understanding that data and analytics operate exactly like construction. And there are 3 distinct approaches, each with radically different cost, governance, and expertise requirements. The first, and I would say the favorite of business stakeholders these last years, is what I call consumer model. Think of it as building a shed in your garden. This is an ad hoc DIY data and analytics where your business teams get Power BI or any other BI tools. They get a small training, they go on YouTube, watch tutorials, and build a dashboard. Just like building a garden shed, you get some small materials, watch some videos, and even though you're not a construction professional, you can still build something that holds up to some extent depending on your capabilities. And it can serve you as a shelter for your immediate need. The upfront cost appears minimal because you just need the licenses for the tools and the basic training. But the hidden expense is what most of the people miss, and it's all of the hours that your stakeholders are watching YouTube videos at work, the trial and error that they go through because they don't understand data pipelines, they don't know the basics of data engineering, they don't know how to do analytics modeling, Power BI DAXs, etc. This represents a significant wasted budget that doesn't appear on your P&L, but it's still there. What's worse is that half of these ad hoc reports become operational necessities and will eventually need rebuilding in a more sophisticated way. You wanted to save money at the beginning, you thought that you are smart, but now it is becoming an expensive technical debt. Now, if we take a look at the governance requirements for this approach, they are minor, like your shed in the garden, which you just need some safety elements in place to make sure that the shed doesn't fall on everybody's head. Here you need some security checks, and to be honest, most of the time your teams are not going to respect them because they download the data on their laptops, they build the dashboard, and then they share the dashboard with whoever they deem necessary. The second approach is the collaborative model. Think of it like building an individual house or eventually multiple houses within the same neighborhood with some professional help. You hire a few BI professionals to help your business stakeholders building departmental specific solution. It is like building a small house where you hire a few people to give you a hand while you are iteratively trying to enhance the design and figure out what's required. Later, you might build multiple houses to create a neighborhood where each person gets their own house, but without sharing any common capacity or without optimizing any resources. The initial capex is under 100K for first few dashboards, and the ongoing OpEx grows significantly. The infrastructure and operational cost for monitoring, maintenance, and sustainability over time becomes big because as data volume grows, each department is running their own analytic infrastructure, and they are not benefiting from the economies of scale. The governance requirements are a bit more complex here. It's more than the DIY model, like municipal building standards. If you take the individual houses, you might have to comply with electricity regulations, sewer regulations, connecting it to potable water, structural resistance, etc., etc. It's the same for dashboards. You need some security protocols, integration frameworks, and change management processes in place. The expertise requirement here includes the BI professional supporting business teams, but coordination across departments become challenging as each is building their own standards and their own dashboard. As this model is an iterative approach with most of the time no documentation along the way, the model stagnates when the business stakeholder in charge of the project leaves the company or changes role. So that's something that you might want to take into account. The third approach is the product model. Think of it as building a skyscraper. You hire a complete professional team to build enterprise-grade data and analytics. When constructing a skyscraper, you need multiple architects, civil engineers, structural engineers, electrical engineers, plumbing, HVAC experts, elevator technician, fire safety people, construction project managers, and so on and so forth. For this kind of data and BI product model, it's the same thing. You will need data architects, infrastructure architects, sometimes even application architects. You need to get them involved for data integration. data platform architect, BI engineers, data engineers, security experts, compliance officers, people who are going to optimize the performance of your infrastructure and your operations, and you need project managers and product managers. You build a multi-story data and analytics platform that can serve more than 2,000 users efficiently. It's optimized for performance, scalability, reliability, and you have modern tooling and enterprise-grade capability to monitor everything. All systems are maintainable, monitorable, and designed for long-term operations. And each professional understands the standards and best practices and regulations in their area of expertise and design the platform and capabilities in collaboration with each other and with subject matter experts. The CapEx starts at 100K and can reach several millions if, for example, you are creating the complete data and BI capabilities for multiple business lines. However, the OpEx is always optimized during the design and also delivery phases, and making sure that the recurring costs stay controllable. In this model, you are building infrastructure and capabilities that are efficiently going to serve thousands of users rather than duplicating the effort across departments. What most companies miss here is that the governance complexity must match your construction model. Remember the construction models we spoke about. Building a shed in your garden will follow basic safety regulations to ensure it won't fall on someone's head. You need simple structural integrity and basic safety measures in place. For individual houses, though, you will need multiple other regulations. You must comply with electrical codes, plumbing standards, foundation requirements, and structural integrity standards, fire safety protocols, or even municipal building permits. For skyscrapers, where you are going to house thousands of people in it, the engineering standards exponentially grow, and there are a lot of regulations you will have to comply with. You need to comply with fire safety systems, earthquake resistance calculation, emergency evacuation protocols, elevator safety certifications, ongoing structural monitoring, and multiple layers of regulatory compliances. Your data and analytics governance follow exactly the same pattern. Shed-level governance covers basic data quality checks and simple access controls. House-level governance, what we call collaborative model, requires security frameworks, integration protocols. The skyscraper-level governance demands enterprise data architecture, regulatory compliance framework, automated monitoring systems, for example, disaster recovery protocols, and maybe multi-tenant availability designed for thousands of users. The critical mistake is trying to operate your skyscraper scale data and analytics with shed-level governance, or implement skyscraper governance for consumer ad hoc models. A common mistake that I see most companies make is to start with the consumer approach, thinking that they are saving money. So the business teams start spending months in learning Power BI or any other BI tools, building their own dashboards. As the usage starts to grow, they hit the limit of DIY analytics. Things like inexistent data definitions, performance problems, governance gaps, all of them, they start appearing and they create friction. Then they move to the collaborative model. They hire a few BI professionals to help them clean up the mess. But now they are supporting dozens of departmental solutions with different standards. They are creating operational complexity that drives up ongoing cost without achieving enterprise efficiency. Eventually, they realize that they need the product model to achieve scalable enterprise-grade analytics. But by this point, they have accumulated so much technical debt and incompatible systems that rebuilding cost will be higher than starting over with the product approach. It is like starting with garden sheds, then trying to connect the sheds together and build an individual house, and then stack the individual houses to build a skyscraper. You see that it is not really possible. The foundation wasn't designed for the load. Nothing was designed for the skyscraper model. So everything must be torn down and rebuilt professionally. The root cause isn't that people have bad intention. It's misunderstanding the total cost of ownership and expertise requirement for each of these models. Keep in mind that business stakeholders can become professional BI developers overnight just by watching YouTube videos. In the same way that a construction professional cannot become a civil engineer overnight by watching YouTube videos. There are professional certifications for that. They have to get education, they have to have multiple years of expertise before becoming civil engineers. It is the same thing for your business stakeholders trying to learn BI expertise and BI skills. Now, the solution is a very simple 3-step framework. The first one is honestly assess your scale and complexity requirements. If your company is under 100 users, simple departmental reporting can be sufficient. You can use the consumer approach. The shed level governance will be enough. If you are building for 100 to 1,000 users and you don't have a data and analytics department in place, you can adopt the collaborative approach with house level governance standards. Don't forget to foster cross-departmental collaboration besides IT and business collaboration in this model. And if you're building for more than 1,000 users with mission-critical enterprise-wide analytics, then switch the product model as soon as possible. Remember the skyscraper analogy and the governance level and the level of professional expertise that goes with it. The step 2 is calculate the total cost of ownership, not just the upfront expenses. Include business stakeholders' time spent learning tools, trial and error cost, time to market cost, ongoing operations cost, for example, and the probability of eventual rebuilding when you decide to go with consumer model, the self-service model, or the collaborative model. The consumer approach's hidden cost often exist the collaborative approaches, transparent pricing. When you're going to factor in the wasted time, the inaccurate operational figures because of bad DAX formulas and the inevitable rebuild. Step 3, match expertise investment to the complexity of your requirements. No one becomes a data architect overnight by watching tutorials, just like no one becomes a structural engineer from YouTube videos. If your analytics support mission-critical business operations affecting hundreds or thousands of users, invest in professional expertise from the start. The cost of hiring professionals is always less than the cost of rebuilding amateur work. If you want to know if your current approach is heading for disaster or not, ask this one question. If we have a data quality or a data security issue affecting 500 plus users tomorrow, or we have a data leak issue, who has the expertise to diagnose the root cause and implement a fix and prevent recurrent issues within 4 hours? If your answer is that we will figure it out at that time or we will have to call a vendor, you're probably running a skyscraper scale analytics with shed level expertise. That's a plus 100K rebuild waiting to happen, just like trying to house 500 people in a garden shed, which will become finally a disaster. Companies that succeed at data and analytics don't spend more money. They spend it strategically, matching the cost structure, governance complexity, and expertise requirements to their actual scale needs. Before your team starts building another dashboard, ask yourself the question, are we building a shed? Are we building an individual house or a skyscraper? Then invest accordingly in both upfront cost and ongoing operational excellence with governance standards in place and people's skill sets that can match your construction complexity. Building analytics on the wrong foundation is a waste of money, and it is guaranteed that you are going to pay twice. Once for the amateur construction that fails and once for the professional rebuild that should have been done correctly from the start. Choose your model, match your governance, hire the right expertise, and build once. It will save you a lot of money.